kinds of issues with it. This bike was completely rebuilt from the ground up in the engine department, the suspension department. The frame was even redone. Cradle had been smashed from casing it so many times that we had to have it repaired, and the whole bottom of the bike is almost brand new. Here at the magazine, we love doing that kind of stuff. Like we mentioned before, all of the internal parts were replaced with a combination of aftermarket parts, from a Wrench Rabbit rebuild kit to some stock OEM Honda parts that you can only get from Honda. One of the cases was replaced. One of the cases is still available from Honda. One of the cases isn't available. Luckily, we needed the one that we could still get. Found it at a dealership that still had one in stock, so we got lucky there. The suspension, we had to do filming on 2 different days. Some of the action shots you'll see will be from our first day, some of the action shots will be from our second day, but we had a little bit of a problem with the front fork setup. In this particular year, they had damping rod problems and they would break all the time. So halfway through this test, we had to upgrade to a new fork setup off of a 2003 CR125. So you might notice that the action of this bike was shot at Paris Raceway in Southern California. That's because it just so happens that the owner of this motorcycle is the manager of day-to-day operations, so we got a little bit of an in to ride there. We're sure that this bike is going to see a lot more laps at Paris in the future. And it was a blast to ride. Yes, it's a CR500. Yes, it does still vibrate like a CR500, but man, the bike is a sweet bike to ride. The suspension works really good. They did a good job dialing it in. Once we got the 03 fork setup on it, the motor is really strong. Overall, this was a fun bike to build. We look forward to doing a lot more. We have a 1990 CR500 that we're gonna kind of do a similar project to down the road. If you want an in-depth, detailed parts list of what was used to build this motorcycle, head over to dirtbikemagazine.com. There's a couple different features on our website.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you're interested in some more two-stroke builds, click the video thumbnail now. And don't forget to click that.
I'm interested in buying one. That's what I'm interested in, people. Shoot. That's what I'm interested in. Muggy wants to buy one of them suckers. What's up, Nitro Nation? Muggy Maniac is up early in the cave, getting my cup of coffee on. Gotta have the coffee. Without my cup of coffee, man, I am a grumpy bastard. Sometimes I'm grumpy anyway, but you know what I mean. So anyway, a lot going on in the cave. First off, let's start out by giving out, the shout-outs, people. Let's give some shout-outs. Okay, credit due. I'll get the camera straight here. Credit due where credit's due. First shout out is going to go to my brother my Texas brother here, that, let me tell you something about this guy. This guy, Chris Tinner, man. Sometimes while he's doing a video, I want to reach in the video and I want to choke the shit out of him. Or I want to reach in the video and smack him one. Or a lot of times, maybe while he's doing the video, maybe the muggy would just come flying into his camera and just blindside him and just knock him out. That's the kind of relationship we have. We have that love-hate relationship, man. I love the guy as a brother, Nitro brother, but a lot of times I don't like the guy. Okay, so just because I care about you and I help you. I mean, sometimes, yeah, it's like brothers, Sometimes brothers, like I'll talk to Just Joe and he'll say, yeah, me and my brothers are like that, man. I don't know. Me and my brothers, we go at it all the time, when they were growing up or whatever, and talk smack and, whatever. But at the end of the day, they still care about each other. And I guess that's how me and Chris Tinner's relationship. I mean, to say that I don't care about the guy would be not only insensitive or inhuman, because I do care about everybody, not just him. But like I said, a lot of times sometimes I just want to like choke the guy to death. So anyway, but I still love the guy. So Mr. Chris Tinner, the Muggy Maniac, has got brotherly love for you, but sometimes I just don't like you. It is what it is. I'm just being honest. I am. 100% keeping it real. So anyway, shout out to Mr. Chris Tinner. Let's see, he just sent me a package of goodies. And what he sent me is, actually, here, this is what came in the box. Amsoil, people. If the Mr. Zah says this stuff's bad or asser, then I guess I need some. So Mr. Wugmeister hooked me up with a couple cans of the Amsoil MP metal protector. Now I hear a lot of good things about this stuff. I hear this stuff is bad or asser. So we're going to find out. His package should be there. I sent him some stuff too. Should be there in the next couple of days. Or it should be there today. I'm thinking it should be there today, any time now. But anyway, so shout out to him. Also, shout out to Gearhead Addict. Gearhead Addict, man, me and him talk every single day. Now, guys like him, we just talk shit about each other. We joke around, and it's just like, it's cool. He's not all serious all the time. He doesn't get all, his vagina doesn't get all swollen up, when I kick him in it a couple times. And, like I said, we bust each other's balls. We're gearheads. It's just a different relationship. And the same thing with Just Joe. He's a gearhead, and we talk, same type of thing. We just shoot the shit. We're guys. I think just some guys wear their heart on their sleeve, and they get too emotional about all this stuff. It's all fun, man. It's not all serious. Sometimes it is serious because it is serious money. This stuff is not cheap. It's not free, And I don't spend high dollars on my stuff. People say that, oh yeah, because you spend all this money. I've never bought a new whip yet. I'm picking up $700 rollers for $300. If you guys want any help, let me know. Like I said, I'm hunting one down for, I'm looking for 2 guys right now. One being Gearhead Addict, because he definitely, he's got the modded motors. He definitely needs to get him out of that scrub whip, that RTR, and he needs to get a truggy. So we're gonna, I'm helping him. Also, 1/5 RC, So shout out to those 2 guys. And those guys are gearheads too. We talk all the time. The guys that actually take time out of their day to give me a call. Not just the guys that are fair weather friends and, that just send me a message here or there or whatever. There's those guys too, and that's cool, whatever. They're too busy. I'm never too busy. I work 60 hours a week. I still find time to do all this. I've got all these vehicles, you know, I'm, still dialing in the 8. The 7's good. The Techno here, you know, we just got through running this thing and ripping ass. And now, you know, it's being put back together and it's being, cleaned up and getting dialed in and ready for the next run. And speaking of the next run we're going to do on that bad boy, well, wait a minute, what's going on over here? What is this? Is this some kind of inquisition? Is this some kind of witch hunt? Is this, it looks like somebody's getting ganged up on. Because all I see here is a bunch of Italian paisanos. And you got one rice burner right here in the middle. What the? Oh, I see what it is. The LRP .32 Spec 4 modified is on trial. The jury's out. The Italian mob have put him on trial. Put up or shut the hell up. Or get out. Looks like they're giving him no alternative. Either you're going to put up or you're going to be out of the club, bro. Just because you got an Italian carburetor on you and now you have a DLC coated crank and ceramic bearings, you think you're all that? Well, it's going to need to prove itself. And it will get one more chance because we're going to put this modded 32 DLC coated crank, ceramic bearings, Noborossi carburetor, milled, modified by RCR. We're going to put this thing to the test. So this thing's either going to put out or blow up. One of the two, because I am going to run this thing to the hill. Doesn't mean I'm going to run it lean or lean. It's going to get some serious brap time. I have to, man. I spent a lot of money in this motor. I got to get my money's worth. So either way, I'm getting my money's worth. Either it's going to blow up and I'm going to get my money's worth because that'll be worth it to me, or it's going to actually perform. Who knows? We'll see. Time will tell. That'll be coming up. First off, we got to run this RB modded. We got to settle the score. And I can already tell you, Rick's work is good, but Lance's work is next level. Okay? That's all. This is the RB modded 28.8 Rex Legend. Okay? In the Mugen MBX 7 RT race truggy. Okay? With Triton 2148 pipe and header. 14 pinion. Got the Losi clutch on there. But instead of using the Losi instead of using the Dynamite shoes, I highly recommend these shoes, people. These shoes right here. These are the 7075 aluminum hard clutch shoes, King heads. They outlast, and I think outperform. And they're cheaper than the Max Lifes. There is also, I think it's Entity. I'm going to try those next. Mr. Zah recommended those. So we got King heads, and also there's Entity that makes them. But they're gold. There's two of them in here because I only put two of these, and then I use two of the composites. I mix mine. I don't run all aluminum. That's just what works for me. If you want to know how I pull wheelies and why my stuff pulls wheelies, well, it's a combination of everything. Not only do I run badass motors, but I dial in my clutches. Money. That thing will roll. I didn't even hardly touch it. I dial in my clutches, I set up my diffs right, and I do my clutch shoes and my springs a certain way, and that's why my motor performs. It's not just this motor, it is a badass motor. Whether it's this one or this modded one, you know, this is my Reds R5R Team Edition, modded by Rick Brake at RB Mods. I love this motor. This motor's got around 5 gallons through it now. It's got a lot of fuel going through it. It's still, man, this thing's got a nasty pinch. This little sucker here is coming up on around, I think we're about 3.5 gallons or so. I want to push a couple more. But this thing, man, the piston still gets stuck up in there. But this is a badass Pico P3 .28 7-port. And, you know, it's a badass motor. These bearings are what I run in my clutches now. If you want a good inexpensive bearing, if you want to go spend $30 on Bocas or AKAs aren't really that, I mean, not are they AKAs? Avids. I don't know why I said AKA. Avid bearings. They're okay. But I found these. I mean, it's like $12 or something for like a dozen of them. And I use these in my clutch bells. I mean, look at this thing. And I've been running these same bearings for a while. I mean, they run well. And I always, when I'm done cleaning, what do I oil my bearings with? Right here, people. Triflow. Ask Adam Drake, the legend, the man, the myth. He uses the same thing. And I've been using Triflow forever, though. But anyway. Oh, and a quick tip on this Pico. This is what I use. Flashpoint. They're like $5 for 2 of them. Pretty good deal. These work tight, snug, perfect on Picos. On my Pico. I don't know what Pico you have, but whatever Pico you have, they're small. If the ports are the Picos, the exhaust ports on these things are small. It's kind of weird. But for how small those exhaust ports, and it doesn't have a turbo head on it, and this thing doesn't, you know, this thing puts out. Don't let its looks fool you. You guys seen this. This thing was ripping ass in the techno. And I don't have to tell you. You guys seen it. So anyway, these are some of my motors here. You know, we got the Virtus. This is a good motor. I just got done shimming this. It had a 80.80 millimeter shim in it. I dropped it down to a 60, and we're going to get into that in a minute. Head shimming. And I write, see that? Well, it's upside down, but 60, 60, so I know what I have in it. This has got a 60, and that is running good. We got the RCR modded with the little trophy on there. Man, that sucks. That shit pisses me off when I look at that. This is my worst one. This is my original Rex Legend, bone stock, 28.8. And that thing, look at that. Man, I hate that. Look at this here. I didn't do that. This came like that. That kind of sucks. Oh well. There's no way around that. I mean, I can put some of that polisher on there, but yeah. And even the reds is, you know, it's getting faded, but this is still good shape. You know, this is I haven't ran this one in a minute. The one that I want to run, but I haven't, because I'm going to get it modded. I already know that. I don't know what what it runs like or feels like. This is the Elite 5. It's pretty much identical to it's the same motor as the P5. If you put those two motors together, they're identical. Same head, same block. Might be a couple internal differences, but it's pretty much, from what Rick Brake was saying at RB Mods, he was telling me that a lot of these .21s, no Rossies, is the same blocks. The only one that I know is different, definitely, is this one. This one is not your everyday normal .21. I mean, this thing, you guys see me pull it apart, the internals on this thing, it's ridiculous. This is like top-notch Novorossi engineering at its best. I mean, and that's crazy. If you guys notice that, right? If you look at the carburetor, it's offset. It's not dead center. It's off to the side. I think they're about $260 something, brand new. That one came free with the MBX 8 over here. And we've got the OS in here, XR Max. Man, let me tell you something. This thing is a nasty, nasty little Chinaman. It's a ninja. I almost regret selling it. I might buy it back. I'm trying to buy it back already from my cousin. I'm talking him out of it. I'm telling him he's still new. He doesn't. This is too much for him, because I think it is. Even for a .21, that thing's nasty. And you've seen me run the crap out of that. But yeah, for a rice burner, hey, credit due where credit's due. Even though it is a rice burner, that's a badass rice burner. And that's modded by RCR Lance Hedman at RCR Mods. So, man, That's a badass motor, even though it's probably going to be going farewell here soon. And then the last Chinaman that I have left is this one here, which, like I said, is on, the jury's out, it's on trial. And this one here. Let's talk about this one here. Okay, before I get into other things that I do want to talk about and address, let's get to the cut, to the chase. Now, this is your final option. The Muggy is going to give you your last option as far as tuning. Now, we talk about the low end, the high end needle, the bottom end needle, you know, all those things. Pipes, glow plugs, turbo plugs, different air filters, a lot of things, okay, as far as tuning your motor. Most of it we always talk about in the needles. Your high-end needle is controlling from mid to all the way, to where your low-end needle is controlling from right at the get-go to the mid. The high-end, mid to full throttle. So that's your bottom end. Obviously, that's your low end, which is, you know, what we usually tune with. And then you know you have your also your idle adjustment. The cool thing about these carburetors, this is, by the way, the Hyper 21, OFNA Hyper 21. Don't make anymore. Classic .21. Of its time, it was a badass 21. Now, I've had this 21, it was like the second motor that I got. Because the first one was obviously the XTM 24.7 that came inside of this beast right here. This beast came with a 24.7 pull start. And it was good. It was a workhorse, but eventually I threw a rod through that thing. It didn't last very long. By the way, we're getting the Muggies getting back ready to rock and roll. We're getting the center diff put back together. I did finally get the one-way bearing that it needs in order for the center drivetrain to work, because it is a 2-speed. By the way, shout out to Lights Out. He's sending me the 2-speed gear pinion that I need, because the last time I ran this thing, this is what a modded .28 Rex Legend does to an RTR clutch bell. Any questions? Look at that. Imploded. So he's sending me another one, and in exchange, because he needs a what is it called? The ring and pinion for his XTM, because he has one too. So we're going to get this thing going, man. I miss running this thing. It is my Muggy. We're going to get it ripping again, so hold tight, people. I mean, this is a one-of-a-kind. They don't make these anymore. I've got about $200 you're seeing right here just into this. All 70-75 billet aluminum, people. These are the towers, bearings in them. This is the top brake tower. This is one of my aluminum chassis braces that goes here, and I've got another aluminum one. It's got the front one here, which is, this is an associated front aluminum chassis brace that I customized, and this is the last original. Looks like a turnbuckle, but this is actually chassis braces. That's what comes on these things originally. 2 in the front, 2 in the rear. But I replaced all these. I'm just having a hard time. If anybody knows where they can find something that will work on here, it's got to be 143 millimeters long, because that's how long this is from eye to eye. So anyway, this thing got titanium on it. This is the only vehicle that I have, that I own, that actually has an aluminum servo saver. That's not plastic, people. That's aluminum. It's got a billet aluminum Ackerman. Also, the top plate's aluminum. So, I mean, it's a one-of-a-kind Muggy, trust me. And we're going to run, because one of my brothers asked, we were going to run the bone stock, beat up, battle wounded 28.8 Rex Legend in the Muggy. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, to get back to what we're talking about, shimming, I also have this motor is shimmed. This is the reds I wrote on the side, as you guys can see there. See that? 55 right underneath the cooling head. So there's a 55 shim in there. Now, real quickly, when you're shimming, you're looking to keep your shim. Now, first of all, let me first say something. This is my disclaimer. If you're new, if you're a year or less in 8-scale nitro, don't even worry about this. Okay, you can take notes or whatever, but I don't recommend doing this unless you know what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can damage your motor, blow up your motor, and I don't want anybody to blow up their motor because, hey, the muggy told me, listen, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have a year minimum of experience of running nitro motors with a sealed backplate, I'm not talking pull start, rotostart bullshit, talking sealed back for at least 1 year, don't do this. Trust me, just leave it alone. This is for guys with more experience that want to, have a final tuning option, because it is your final tuning option. This is the last option you have to tune a nitro motor. When everything is said and done, when you've done everything else as far as tuning, this is one more option. Why? Because you can get more runtime, better fuel mileage, motor run cooler. Say if you got a motor that's running hot, chances are all you need to do is shim it up. If you shim up, which means you're putting more shims in, you're gonna get a cooler running motor. You're gonna get more top end, a little bit less bottom end, and you're gonna get good fuel mileage. Now, when you're shimming down, you're gonna get less top end, more bottom end. You're gonna get hotter running times. And your fuel mileage is not going to be that good. And of course, if you're using the best fuel that there is, and I'm not just saying that. When Rick Brake and John Bodegel and Lance Hedman say that this is the best fuel, well, I'm not going to argue with those three guys. I'll tell you that. Yes, it is a little bit more, but that's not Byron's fault. That's because of the hazmat shipping. If you're getting gouged by paying high price for Byron, then you got to do what you got to do. I get it. I pay $40 a gallon, which is probably high to most people, but you know what? I don't care. It's the best fuel there is. When John Bodegel, Rick Brake, and Lance Hedman tell me, and have already told me, that this is the best fuel, period, I don't care what it costs. I might not like it, and I might bitch and complain, rightfully so, but I'm gonna run it, because you know why? Because it's the best fuel, they said, for my Italian motors. And I pay too much money for these motors, and to get them modded even more money, to trust anything that has no proof. Yeah, some people say that certain fuel this, certain fuel that, whatever. Show me the proof. Proof's in the pudding. And show me the proof from reputable people, not just John Doe telling me, or Racer Rick telling, Racer Rick or Racer Bob or Racer whatever, Racer Redneck even. Now I'm going to get shit for that. Oh, Muggy, you shouldn't say that's racial. Listen, like I told you before, I am not a racist. So anybody that says I'm a racist is full of shit and doesn't know the meaning of the word. But anyway, whoever you are, Racer Joe, okay, I don't care what you say. I just got off the phone with one of my brothers earlier, and he ran 10 gallons or more. Like, he runs a lot of fuel. And he ran this fuel that I'm talking about, and he said that this fuel is very inconsistent. And that's all I was trying to say on my last video. I don't hate Bones. I have no beef with Bones. I don't even know Brent. The beef that I have is people saying that it's as good as Byron's when they have no proof of that except for what people say. And what a bunch of rookies, scrubs, newbies, or whoever have ran a few gallons. Like I said, when you or whoever give me proof of somebody running at least 8 to 10 gallons of fuel or more of this bones through their motor and then pulling it apart, then I'll believe you. But still is not going to make me change to Byron's. Like I said, if you're getting gouged by the price of Byron's, then by all means, I don't blame you. You got to do what you got to do. I'm not, and I know plenty of people that aren't. And I guess we're blessed and we're fortunate, whatever you want to call it. So as long as my hobby shop is carrying it, even though it's $15 or whatever a quart, and it's, $40 a gallon, I'm buying it. Why? Because Rick Brake, Lance Hedman, and John Bodegel said it's the best fuel. Period. End of story. That's all I need to know. I don't need to argue with that. But people want to argue with it because, the price. Like Byron's is raping us. It's not Byron's, people. It's because of the shipping. It's because of the hazmat bullshit. It has nothing to do with Byron's. Byron's isn't saying, oh, well, let's screw everybody by charging them more. That's not happening. And I'm not getting sponsored by Byron, so I think a lot of this, believe it or, my opinion, honestly, people are getting hooked up with bones, and that's why they're so hell-bent on trying to prove that it's just as good as Byron's. Whatever. Show me the proof. Proof is in the pudding. Put up or shut up. Your mouth's writing checks that your ass can't cash. That's all. Period. So, like I said, and if John or Rick or Lance tell me that Bones is the best fuel, then I'll switch. But until then, it ain't happening. You got a better chance of God popping out of this, inside of this sleeve, than the muggy switching from Byron's to Bones. Does that mean I hate Byron's or I'm hating? You hear people, oh, quit hating, be a hater. Well. I'm not complaining about Byron's. I'm not the one bitching about the prices. Okay? And I'm just telling you facts. Lance Hedman, Rick Brake, John Bodegel says Byron's is the best? Well, that's what I'm using. Period. So you do what you want. Like I said, I'm not hating on Bones. I'm just stating facts. All I hear on Bones is circumstantial evidence. Like I said, I think Brent needs to stop all this and end it by running a vehicle, pounding 10 gallons of freaking Bones through it, and then telling me or showing me proof that it's as good as Byron's. Until then,